my God. Okay, I'll do it. I thought it was the other group. Okay, no issues. I'll do it. All right. This one, right? All right. So this is what we couldn't make it yesterday because of time lacking. All right. So adhesive glycoprotein, they are protein which are also components of what we call the extracellular matrix. So what is extracellular matrix? A network of proteins, right? And how are these proteins? Fibrous, globular, fibrous protein. And we said that the main component, the basic component, proteoglycan and the component, the three components, proteoglycan, fibrous protein, and adhesive protein. This is the three. I didn't ask about the structures of proteoglycan. شو المكونات تبع الاكستراسيلولار ماتريكس؟ هما البروتيوغلايكان, fibrous protein, and you have the adhesive glycoprotein. So the adhesive glycoprotein, they are protein which are very important from their name. They are important for cell-to-cell adhesions, for cell to extracellular matrix adhesions, or even for adhesion of the different extracellular matrix components. Okay? All right. So the adhesive glycoprotein, we have four. We have fibronectin, laminin, thrombospondin, and chondronectin. Okay? So today we're going to talk only about fibronectin and laminin. Okay? All right. So fibronectin. So when I said fibronectin, it's a fibrous protein. So it is present in what we call the connective tissue. You will see the different type of tissue with Dr. Sameh in the lab. You will see pictures in the microscope and so on. So this fibronectin, it is present in the connective tissue. And in terms of structure, بتشوفوا إنه this fibronectin متكونة من two subunits, two chain, right? And these two chains, they are connected in their extremity, COH extremity, by disulfide bond, SS bond. This is what we call disulfide bonds. Okay? This is the structures. So my fibronectin, it is a glycoprotein and it is heterodimeric. Okay, dimeric لأنها متكونة من two subunits, and these two subunits, they are different from each other. So it is heterodimeric. Okay? Now, when you look to the structures, you know that the fibronectin contains a protein, right? And the protein is a sequence of amino acids, right? All right. So the scientists, they found that some sequence, you know, we have, for example, 100 amino acids. For example, from the amino acid, for example, number 10 till the amino acid number 15, this sequence of amino acids, it has specific properties. Then they found, for example, that the sequence from the amino acid number 30 to the amino acid till, for example, 70, they have another properties. Okay? So this sequence, we call them domain. Okay? So this domain, called domain, it has a property, it has a role. Okay? So for example, they found that this domain, which is close to, for example, to the extremity here, it binds the fibrin. So the sequence of amino acid here, they are capable, تيجي الفبرين and it can bind to it. Fibrin, it will bind to fibronectin via these domain. Okay? The collagen, for example, it can bind to your fibronectin via this domain. Okay? So this is what you, a domain, it's a sequence موجودة في الفibronectin that can be used by the extracellular molecule and other protein to bind to your fibronectin. Is the site of interactions, okay, between the fibronectin and other molecules. Is it clear? مفهوم domain? Okay. So, the next one, the next adhesive glycoprotein, it is laminin. You didn't go through the lot of details, just laminin is also a glycoprotein. It's an adhesive glycoprotein. And it is composed by 3 subunits. So we have here the alpha subunit, which is in pink. Then I have here the gamma, and which is in clear purple here. It's the beta chain. So I have beta chain, alpha chain, beta chain, and gamma chain. So I have 3 chain, okay? 3 subunits. So that's why we call it trimeric, not dimeric. Dimeric اثنين. Trimeric, yes. So, and as these 3 chains, they are different, so they are hetero-trimeric. Okay? مفهوم? You know what does it mean now when I said hetero-trimeric glycoprotein? Huh? يعني hetero لأنه different subunit. 3 because we have 3 subunits. Okay? And glycoprotein لأنه what does it mean glycoprotein? It's a protein that contains carbohydrate, sugars. Okay? So you need to, when I said these words, you know each word what does it mean. Okay? And as you can see, the structure تبعها is like a cruciform. Okay? And same thing, the laminin, it is also a multifunctional protein لأنها هي كمان it has a multiple domain, and each domain it is responsible for functions. Okay, so we have different domain, different function. هذا يؤدي إنه these molecules it is a multifunctional protein. Okay, it ensures a variety of functions. Okay, is it clear for fibronectin and laminin? Yes, do you have any question before we move? All right, perfect. All right, so let's move to the lectures of today. All right, cell adhesions molecules. So cell adhesions molecule, they are also molecules, they are also protein, okay, which are also responsible of cell to cell and or cell to extracellular matrix. What does it mean? يعني there is some cell adhesion molecule which are responsible for cell to cell adhesion only, and there is cell adhesion molecule which are responsible for both cell to cell adhesion and cell to extracellular matrix. So that's why in your slide it is written and or. Okay, يا اما الاثنين ولا only one. Okay, يا اما cell to cell adhesions or both of them. Okay, all right. So these protein, these cell adhesions molecules, they are coming. Yes, go ahead. Welcome. All right. So these cell adhesion molecule, they are glycoprotein, and they bind sugars, and they are also transmembrane protein. So now you know what does it mean, transmembrane protein, right? So what does it mean? Yes, it crosses a phospholipid bilayer, right? هذا شو معناها transmembrane. So the cell adhesion molecule, they are transmembrane protein. So they cross the phospholipid bilayer. So imagine this is your transmembrane protein. So as you can see, it crosses the phospholipid bilayer. Okay. So what is outside? It is called extracellular domain, which is inside the phospholipid bilayer. We call it transmembrane domain. And what is the domain which is in the cytoplasm? We call it cytoplasmic domain. Okay? Clear? Clear? Okay. So, we're going to have four subgroup of cell adhesion molecules in our family. We have the cadherin, the integrin, the immunoglobulin superfamily, and you have the selectin. All right? This is the four family, which we call them cell adhesions molecules. Okay? And all of them, they are glycoprotein, they are transmembrane protein, okay? And they have extracellular domain, transmembrane domain, and cytoplasmic domain. Okay? This is general structures. Now we're going to study them one by one, and we're going to see the difference between them. Okay? Clear? So let's start first by the cadherins. So the cadherin, نفس الشيء as we said, transmembrane protein, فيها extracellular domain, transmembrane domain, and we have a cytoplasmic domain. So if you look to the picture here, this is the extracellular domain. As you can see, it is subdivided into extracellular domain 1, extracellular domain 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the extracellular domain مقسوم, it is divided into 5 extracellular domain, EC1 till EC5. Okay? Then I have my transmembrane domain, and then I'm going to have a short cytoplasmic domain. Okay? So, if I have, for example, two cells close to each other, so these cells, how they will be connected? They will be connected via their extracellular domain. I have a cell, it has the extracellular domain here. The other cell, it has its extracellular domain. So they will connect via their extracellular domain via the EC1. So I have, this is cell number 1, this is cell number 2, this is my cadherin, okay, for each of it. This is a cadherin, this is a cadherin, and you can see that the cells, they are communicating or they are connected by their EC1 domain. Okay? Is it clear? So this is how they can connect the cells to each other. Okay? This is one particularity. The second particularity of the cadherin, as you can see here, this is my cytoplasmic domain. Okay? And I said that the cells, the cell adhesion molecules, they have a short cytoplasmic domain. So this cell adhesion molecule, this cadherin, to communicate with the cytoskeleton of the cells, they need a linker protein. So imagine here I have here microfilament. You know what is microfilament now? So this is what you have here. This is your G-actin. Okay? So this is my microfilament. So if I took here my cadherin, so this cadherin, to communicate with the microfilament, I need what we call a linker protein, وسط, an intermediate between them. All right? So this linker protein, it is called catenin. Okay? So we have alpha, beta, and P120. Okay? So this is the catenin. All right? The catenin, it is called, it is the linker protein هي اللي راح تجمع between the cytoplasmic domain and the microfilament. It ensures the link between them because the cytoplasmic domain, it is short, it cannot reach the microfilament directly. Okay? It's clear? Okay. So, if I have this kind of communications between my cadherin and the cytoskeleton, and I have a communication also between this cells and this cells. نفس الشيء هون كمان. The cells, it is also connected to its cytoskeleton بنفس الطريقة. Okay? So if I have this kind of link between the two cells via EC1, and each cadherin, it is connected to its cytoskeleton, so any signals which comes from these cells or these cells can be transmitted to the cytoskeleton. So this cell, for example, it can send a signal to the cells via EC1. بيروح, it goes through all the cadherin and it will reach the cytoskeleton of the opposite cells and vice versa. Okay? So by this link, so we can allow communications between the cells and between the cytoskeleton of both cells. Okay? واضح? Is it clear? Is it clear or shall I repeat? Okay. So if I have two cells مربوطين مع بعض بالاي سي 1 وكل سيل مربوطة بالسيتوسكeleton تبعها. So إذا كان يجيني signal من الopposite cell, so it will pass through the cadherin and راح يروح لحد السيتوسكeleton of the opposite cells. صح؟ Imagine is like, and the same thing from the cells, if it will send a signal, it goes through the cadherin to the opposite and it can reach the cytoskeleton of the opposite cells. مفهوم؟ Clear? All right. So, yeah, so this is what we said. In addition to the adhesion, we have also a link in the cytoskeleton. Okay? All right. Another property for the cadherin. The other property, and know these cadherin, they are calcium dependent. شو معناها calcium dependent? They need calcium. They need calcium to function. Okay? To exert, we can say their function. So these calcium, as you can see here in the pictures, it is located in between the extracellular domain. Okay? هذوما ال EC1, EC2, EC3, 4, and 5. Okay? So the calcium, it is, linked to the extracellular domain, and these make the extracellular domain standing still. They are rigid. So by being rigid, so they can communicate between the cells. If there is no calcium, they will be floppy. They will be like a fragile, okay, supple, all right? So they cannot communicate. So this calcium, it is very important to maintain the structures of your cadherin, so that the cadherin, they can communicate between each other. Okay? Clear? Okay. All right, so to finish is just to say that the cadherin, we have a lot in our body. And of course, the repartitions of these cadherin, it depends on the types of cell. Okay? في cadherin موجودين, for example, in the retinal cell, other in the placenta, other in the, and it depends on the tissue. So we have different types of families of cadherin. So the scientists, they classify them in type 1, 2, 3, and you have even atypical, and they are not really frequent cadherin. The type 1, I just took the example of the type. You don't have to know this, right? Just to tell you that we have a lot of cadherin, and this cadherin, the localization تبعهم or their repartition depends of the tissue. Okay? اللي نلقاه مثلا في النورال ما راح نلقاه في الريتينال، اللي راح نلقاه في البلاسنتا ما راح نلقاه في another tissue. All right? So it is related to the tissue. So we have, for example, we have E كادرين موجودة في الابيثيليال tissue. I have N كادرين موجودة في النيورونز. I have P كادرين موجودة في البلاسنتا. And we have R كادرين موجودة في الريتينا. Okay? So شفتوا هون كيف؟ So the repartitions of the cadherin depends of the tissue, right? وحتى الأسامي تبعهم we nominate them according to the tissue where we find them. E for epithelial, N for neural, P for placenta, all right? Retinal, R, all right? So دايما these letters it refer to the tissue where they have been discovered the first time. Okay? It's clear? All right, so this is what we have to say about the cadherin, okay? The second cell adhesion molecule, it are the selectins. So the selectins, نفس الشيء, they are glycoprotein, they are transmembrane protein. So as you can see here, I have an extracellular domain, I have a transmembrane domain, and I have also a short cytoplasmic domain. نفس الشيء, okay? And you can see here that this cytoplasmic domain, to communicate with the microfilament, I need also what we call here anchoring protein, or we call it as well linker protein. هذا اللي راح يجمع بيناتهم. Okay? So it's the same thing like in the cadherin. الفرق of course the structures. الفرق also the linker protein, they are different. Okay? The other specificity for the selectin in that they have in their extracellular domain a domain which is called lectin. Lectin معناها it's a carbohydrate binding protein. It's a site where we're going to attach a carbohydrate. Okay? Sugar can bind to the selectin. Okay? Where in this what we call the lectin domain. Okay? نفس الشيء the selectin like the cadherin, they are also calcium dependent. They need calcium also for their structures. Okay? And the other property as well is that this selectin we discover that the selectin they are very important for the migrations of the white blood cells to the site of inflammations. Okay? لما يصير inflammation في مكان, so the white blood cells they will use the selectin, all right, مشان يروحوا the site of inflammations. Okay? Clear? The members نفس الشيء, they refer to the site where we discover them at the first time. So I have L selectin, we found them in the leukocytes, in the white blood cells, lymphocytes. El P selectin, we discover them at first time in the platelet. So that's why سميناهم P selectin. Okay? And then the other one, the E selectin, we found them in the endothelium. Okay? So this is the three types of the, we can say, selectin. Okay? Is it clear? Any questions so far? Okay. All right. The next cell adhesion molecule هي الimmunoglobulin superfamily. نفس الشيء. When I ask you what is immunoglobulin superfamily, you will cell adhesion molecule, you will tell me it is a glycoprotein, and you will tell me it is a transmembrane glycoproteins. Okay? This is the common, we can say, properties between these cell adhesion molecules. Okay? So now, what is the particularity? شو راح تفرق with the other, we can say, cell adhesion molecules? So, immunoglobulin superfamily, we call it so because we found in the extracellular domain, they have a sequence of amino acids which resemble to the immunoglobulins, to the sequence of immunoglobulin. Do you know what is immunoglobulin? Do you know what is immunoglobulin? Do you know what is antibodies? It's immunoglobulin. Okay, there's another name. Antibodies هم الامينوجلوبولين EGM, EGE. You remember this? ما درستوها? Really? You study them? Yes. So this is the immunoglobulin which are secreted by our lymphocytes, all right, to defend our body. Okay? They are secreted by the lymphocyte T or B. بيصير immunology لا. Which secrete the antibody? Which cell secrete antibody? T or B? B. It's B. Okay? Now this is between brackets. We are not here in immunology, so it's just between brackets. All right. So what you have to keep in mind that I have here an immunoglobulin superfamily, you know, cell adhesion molecules. You can see here I have an extracellular domain, I have a transmembrane domain, and I have also a short cytoplasmic domain. نفس الشيء, this short cytoplasmic domain, it is linked to the cytoskeleton via linker protein. نفس الشيء. Okay? So they found this in the extracellular domain. وقالوا إنه this part, this sequence of, now you say, you know what does it mean, domain, right? So this sequence of amino acids, المنطقة هذه تشبه in term of sequence the immunoglobulin sequence. Okay? The immunoglobulin, they are protein. The antibody, they are protein. They are synthesized by our body, right? Right? You need to be sure of yourself. Okay? Immunoglobulin هم الantibody. The antibody, they are proteins. They are sequence of amino acids. All right? So the sequence of amino acids in the immunoglobulin or in the antibody قالوها تشبه the one which is in the immunoglobulin superfamily. So that's why we call them immunoglobulin superfamily. Okay? لأنها تشبه للimmunoglobulin. Okay? It's clear? The members, we have also 4 members. نفس القصة. They have been called so based where we found them in the first time. In which tissue? All right? So here ICAM is intracellular. الفي كام لقيناها في الفاسكولار، البي كام وجدناها في البلاتلت، and N كام وجدناها في النورونز. Okay, so we have A كام، V كام، P كام and N كام. الكام شو معناها كام؟ Cell adhesion molecule is the abbreviations of cell adhesion molecule, and then you have IVPN. It stands for the tissue where we found them. Okay. Clear? The last one, the last cell adhesion molecule are the integrin. So this integrin مختلفة شوي على the other one اللي شفناهم so far. So the integrin, they are cell adhesion molecule. They are glycoprotein, صح? They are transmembrane. لكن they are dimeric. They have 2 subunits. They have alpha and they have beta subunit. The other one is only one. You see it? If I go back to the pictures, I have only one subunit. Okay? The other one I have only one. Cadherin, I have also only one. Okay? So the integrin, they are the only one which they have 2 subunits. Okay? 2 subunits, they are linked to each other. And these subunits هما alpha and beta. So مختلفين, right? Alpha and beta. So that's why the integrin, they are heterodimeric transmembrane glycoproteins. You see it? All these 4. Okay, heterodimeric transmembrane glycoproteins. Okay, so this is for the integrin. So now, بما أن I have alpha and beta, the scientists, they found that we have 18 types of alpha and we have like 8 types of beta chain. اوكي. عندي 18 يعني عندي الفا 1 الفا 2 الفا 3 حتى yes الفا 18 and then I have 8 beta عندي beta 1 beta 2 beta 3 till beta 8 okay. and now I'm gonna have these combinations. يعني الفا 1 تنجم تيجي مع البيتا 1 بيتا 2 بيتا 3 حتى البيتا 8 الالفا 2 نفس الشيء. so this it will create the variety of the integrin, right? so I have a variety of integrin due to different combination between the alpha and beta subunits. Okay, understood? Okay, there is also another particularity. Some subunits they are only present in a specific tissue. يعني for example مو كل الانتجرين موجودين. For example if I take hepatic cell and I take intestinal cells, okay, مو الانتجرين اللي موجودين على الهيباتيك هم نفسهم الموجودين على الintestinal cells. Okay, so the repartitions of the integrin differ according to the tissue. لأنه the tissue they don't ensure the same function. صح ولا لا؟ So بما أنهم they are different tissue, they have different function, so this integrin has to be different. Okay? So there is, for example, in the lymphocyte, the white blood cell, the beta 2 subunit بتكون موجودة only in the lymphocyte. beta 2 ما راح تلقاوها في أي other types of cells. Okay? So sometimes you find some integrins which are really specific for one types of cell. Okay? Like the beta 2, it is only present on the leukocytes. ما راح تلقاوها في other cells. Okay? So this is very important, important to know. All right. What we have to say also, نفس الشيء here, we need magnesium and we need also calcium for the structural, so integrity of the subunits. Okay, and as a common features between the cell adhesion molecules, I have a short cytoplasmic domain. It communicates with the microfilament via a linker proteins. Okay, is it clear? No question? No ambiguity? واضح كل شيء? Is it clear? Is it clear? Clear? All right. All right. Now we move to the function. What is the role of integrin? The integrin, they are very important molecules because they are the only one. They are the only one which ensure cell to cell and cell to extracellular matrix. يعني السيلكتين كادرين immunoglobulin superfamily, they ensure only cell to cell adhesion. الانتجرين they ensure cell to cell and cell to extracellular matrix, both of them. So that's why I remember when I said and or. Okay, so or is for the other one. All right, so and the integrin, it is the only one among the cell adhesion molecules which ensure both cell to cell and cell to extracellular matrix adhesions. Okay, clear? All right, so this is the first functions. The second function, which is the most important thing, is what we call the inside out and outside in signaling. All right, so what does it mean inside out and outside in signaling? So imagine your integrin, they are a kind of receptors. Okay, سميهم receptor بالعربي. So شو راح يستقبلوا؟ إشارات, signals, right? They will receive or they will attach, all right, ligand. Okay, like for example antibody, antigen. Okay, so these antigreen, they are kind of receptor. Imagine this is my antigreen, this is my alpha and my beta, and I'm going to receive a ligand. Okay? A ligand, this is my signal from outside. صح? So this signal, it is carrying a message, right? And it will attach to my antigreen to transmit this message inside my cell. Correct? Am I right? All right. So I have my antigreen, alpha and beta. I have, imagine that I have like a ligands. So this ligands or this signal, it will transmit the information via my antigreen, via my transmembrane, via the cytoplasmic, going to the cytoplasm, going to the nucleus, and the nucleus, it will start to synthesize protein or hormone or whatever in response to the signal. Imagine, for example, you have high blood sugar. So your body needs to start to secrete insulin. So you have this signal of sugar, all right? It will be perceived by your pancreas, all right? You have receptors, they will transmit, and the cell will start to synthesize, for example, the insulin. So this is the signal J من outside, it goes inside. So this is what we call outside in. Okay? Now the opposite. Inside, out. So imagine, I take the same example. You have the high blood sugar, signal, pancreas, the cells, they synthesize it, insulin. Your blood level and sugar, it is decreased. رجع عادي. Did their body continue to synthesize insulin? It will stop. And if you will continue to have insulin, you will have hypoglycemia, راح تموتوا. Okay? So we need to stop the production of insulin. صح? So how are we going to say? So there is a signal coming from inside the cells. It goes to the antigreen, and this antigreen, it will not bind anymore this signal. It doesn't have any more affinity. So if it will not bind anymore, so there is no any more signal coming inside. So this is what we call inside out. Okay? So one signal to stimulate and one signal to stop, to inhibit. Clear? Clear, or shall I repeat? The inside out? So inside out هو السيجنال يجي from inside the cell. It goes to the antigreen to stop binding this ligands ولا الإشارات ولا شو نسميهم. Okay? So these molecules, all right, اللي هم حاملين السيجنال, they need to stop sending, you know, their signal. So كيف they stop؟ لما الانتجرين هذه ما عاد تكون عندها affinity to the signal. It cannot bind anymore this way. So شو يصير؟ يجي signal from inside راح يغير هالانتجرين بطريقة إنه ما عاد تستقبل this ligand. So إذا كان ما عاد تستقبل الليجند, so signal it will not go inside. And we stop it. Okay? So the outside in is to make the cell react to the signal, and the signal which is inside out is just to stop this effect. Okay? Clear? Any questions? Yes. إيه يعني هما ما راح يظلوا هيك يعني. يعني يعني when you modify them there is a purpose for a certain time, and then after they will come back to their structure. It's just a moment to stop the things, you know, working. But after يعني otherwise كل البروتينات راح نغيرها, so they will be defective خلاص يعني we don't have. Okay? All right. All right. So now this is what we have to say about cell adhesion molecule. We said we have 4 types. We have the cadherin, we have the selectin, we have the immunoglobulin, and we have the integrin. Both of them, all of them, they ensure cell-to-cell adhesion. However, the integrin, it ensures also cell to extracellular matrix adhesions. They have common features. They are transmembrane. They have extracellular domain, transmembrane domain, and they have a short transmembrane domain. And this transmembrane domain, it communicates with the cytoskeleton via what we call a linker protein. Did you understand this? Very well. All right. So cell adhesion molecules and diseases. Of course, our body, it synthesizes this cell adhesion molecule, and we can say it very accurate way. All right. Any decrease in the expression of this protein or any overexpression of this molecule, it will lead to diseases. All right. So the first disease, which we call leukocyte adhesions deficiency. So you remember I said to you that the beta 2 subunits موجودة only on leukocytes. All right. So if this beta 2 subunit, it is defective, it is not present, okay, is not working, all right, on the leukocyte, شو راح يصير؟ So these white blood cell or this lymphocyte or leukocyte, they cannot move to the site of inflammation. They cannot migrate to the site of inflammation to fight the inflammation. Okay? So if they cannot fight the inflammation, شو راح يصير؟ The disease will spread more and more and more. So that's why this kind of disease is life-threatening and it will lead to the death of the patients. Okay? لأنه الجسم ما يقاوم، لأنه lymphocytes, the white blood cell, they are not working. Why? Because they don't have beta 2 and subunits. Okay? Clear? So this is what we call leukocyte adhesion deficiency. The second disease هو الكانسر. Okay? الكانسر شو الخاصية تبعه in general؟ اللي هو they invade. Okay? They spread in all the body. عافانا الله. So they do what we call metastasis. ينتشر في كل all the organs. All right? So why this? لأنه ما عندهم adhesions molecules. The cells, they are not linked to each other. They are free. Okay? So for example, if I take the epithelial tumor, for example, like ovarian cancer, okay, cancer of the ovary. The cancer of ovary is a type of epithelial tumor. In this kind of cancer, the epithelial cadherin, it is defective. Okay, there is no E-cadherin. So شو راح يصير في هالcells? They are not linked to each other. So what they will do? They will spread in the other, and the cancer, it will spread to all the organs. So they become mobile, and they will invade all the body. And you have what we call the metastasis. Okay? Is it clear? Yes. So معروف إنه cancer cells, they spread, right? ينتشر في الجسم. If you don't stop it by chemo or whatever, so they spread. So this movement of the cell, it is due to what? Is due to the fact that the cells, they are not adherent to each other. ما هم ملتصقين مع بعض. All right? So they are free to move. And this absence of adhesions is due to the fact they don't have E-cadherin. Okay? So الإي-cadherin يتربط بين cell و cell, EC1, EC1. Okay? ما في. So they are free to move. Okay? And they will invade other organ, and the cancer, it will spread in all the organs. Okay? Of the body. Okay. So this is kind of diseases which are due to decreased expressions لما يكون ما في cell adhesion molecule, a decreased expression of cell adhesion molecules. Now if I will take the opposite, if I will take increase it, يعني أكثر من اللازم, I have overexpressions of cell adhesion molecules. So the example that I took هو الأزمة. What we call asthma in Arabic? ربوة? ربوة. All right. So الأزمة, it is characterized by what? It is characterized by the fact that the bronchi, okay, the bronchi that are constricted, they are inflamed. So the airway, it is really, we can say, very tiny, you know. So that's why the person, it has difficulty in breathing, okay. لأنه, as you can see here in the pictures, the airways, هون وين يدخل الهواء هون. So the airways, they are very tiny, all right. Why? Because I have inflammation here. Okay, the tissue here, they are inflamed. So you will tell me, what is the causes of inflammations? لأنه the people, they have asthma, they have overexpression of the ICAM. Remember the ICAM? Intracellular adhesion molecule, which type of cell adhesion molecule? Cadherin, selectin, what is it? Immunoglobulin superfamily. Okay? So when I have this overexpressions of these molecules in the bronchi, شو راح يصير? The lymphocytes, they will migrate to the bronchi وتصير هنيك inflammations. So that's why I'm going to have these constrictions of the airway. That's why I'm going to have these inflammations in the body. Okay, in the bronchi. The last one, the last example is that sometimes the virus or the bacteria, they are very smart. And they can use our body, our systems, to enter inside our body. Like I took the coronavirus. They use our receptors in the lungs to come inside. صح? So the same thing, I will take another example. Rhinovirus. Rhinovirus, هذا الرينوفيروس اللي هو مسؤول عن الكولد. Okay? So the rhinovirus, it will use نفس الشيء. It will use the ICAM1 to enter inside the body. والشخص would have this, he will have a cold. All right? So sometimes the virus or the bacteria or whatever, they can use our cell adhesion molecules to enter inside our body and cause a disease. Okay? Is it clear? All right. Thank you very much. I think this is the last one, right? Yes. Thank you. We have a tutorial this afternoon, right? Oh my God.